kill the majority of the time. However, with the primary decks lining up against each other, Swidz has no Elysiana. He has no ability to shuffle cards into his own deck. And so maybe if RDU can weather the storm of bombs early on, he might be able to go to a fatigue game plan and win there.
This is one of my favorite matchups in the game.
We're very different people, you and I, Admirable.
Did you like Jade Idol?
Did I like the card or the Jade Druid mirrors?
Both.
I liked playing Jade Druid. I guess I could say I like Jade Idol. I appreciated that it was, in some ways, damaging to the meta at the time.
I appreciated that it was in some ways damaging to the meta.
I think that's a fair way of putting it.
A fair way of putting it, just it's weird that that's the reason you liked it.
Well, I mean, I liked playing the deck. I enjoyed playing Jade Druid on ladder, even though I knew that overall it was detrimental to a lot of players' experiences at the time.
I see. So the fact that you inflicted harm onto others was part of the enjoyment that you got from the deck.
If that's what makes you happy, then go for it, my dude.
Found ourselves in Reg Caliber first. Key interactions happened here. You know, RDU having the Eternium Rover and the Town Crier early on, I always feel like these cards in this matchup just don't do anything.
I agree. They do very little. They are not meant for this matchup.
Also very surprised that RDU is choosing to shield block here over just simply hero power. I feel like his hand is pretty good already. I feel like that's just an opportunity cost.
So I think this is actually a really good point to talk about the, while players are just going through their early couple of turns, what the overall strategy here is for both of these players. Because for RDU, drawing a card there, I think, is in a microcosm kind of showing what he wants to be doing in this matchup. He wants to play quickly. He's up against a bomb rate which sees his tempo very aggressively, gets those bombs shuffled in. So just hero powering every turn arguably doesn't get him through to his own answers, his own removal, and also his own tempo of his own quickly enough to the point that hero power would not have done.
And that's kind of where my curiosity sets in too, though, is the opportunity cost of a hero power. You know there's going to be a lot of them. You know it's going to happen, and you know you're going to be doing it.
Absolutely.
Each hero power wipes out 40% of a bomb activation.
Checks out.
He just gave his opponent 40% of a bomb. They're going to hit at some point. This matchup, unless Swidz just blows RDU out of the water, it's going to go to the late game.
Okay. Okay, so I think I agree with you in this instance that he is probably going to be floating mana in the next couple of turns to be able to go for hero power and shield block on the same turn. But having said that, Coin Dr. Boom is very possibly going to come out on turn 6, I would say. And from there on, he will have a lot more mana to spend every turn. Yeah, very nice and easy there.
Yeah, I might say something that I'm going to get a lot of hate for. I don't think you should play that yet.
Really? Elaborate.
I think that hero powers, when you're Control Warrior, are extremely important. I think he's got plenty of cards right now to operate with. I think when it gets to the end of the game, he has more cards than Swidz has. I think that foregoing the opportunity to get more armor costs him something here. I think you want to use your Brawl. I think you want to use your Warpaths. I think you want to expend your resources and then have Dr. Boom bridge the gap from that point when you're out to the point at the end.
I do not agree with you.
Nobody does.
Yeah, apparently I'm just a sheep with going with the popular opinion, but I think the tempo saves you more health than the hero powers would every turn because nothing connects to your face for the whole game.
I generally agree that that's true.
I also think that getting the chance to gain 7 is almost chance to gain 7 armor 1 every 5 hero powers, or 1 every 4, is almost as good as.
It's 1 every 5.
1 every 5, but yeah, it can't be the same one twice. I was wrong. Yeah, 1 every 5 times is pretty much as good as going for the hero power just for 2 every single turn.
I don't disagree with you. I think if this game went anywhere close to Swid's favor, RDU has to play the Dr. Boom in that spot, or he's not going to recover. I think in this spot, Swidz has an Eternium Rover.
Yeah, like in the when Odd Warrior first started popping up, when Dr. Boom first entered Odd Warrior after the Boomsday project came out. At first, in the mirrors, I was actually thinking, maybe you save Dr. Boom, maybe you don't play it because 4 armor every turn really starts to stack up. Even then, with the Odd Warrior 4 hero power armor a turn, I still think you just slam Boom as early as possible.
And I'm curious about the Ziliax too. I think Ziliax is a very vital tool at the end of the game. I was watching RDU play this on stream yesterday. You and I were, watching streams and going over the matches and talking about, what are we going to talk about during this time. I don't think RDU played fantastically in his stream set yesterday. And right now, his play is very much emulating what I saw yesterday. And I think that he went to some very long games that were very close and competitive. And just at the very end, he was missing something small.
So if you had to condense it down, what is lacking in his style of play? What is he doing wrong, you think, in a macro sense?
I think it's impatience.
You think he's playing too quickly with he's tempoing out his cards too early?
I think so.
Interesting. Because I would argue that this, so in terms of fatigue, he never needs to worry about fatigue.
Nope.
There's not a chance that he runs out of value compared to his opponent.
Absolutely correct.
But I think he also has so much card draw on his deck that he doesn't need to worry about running out of stuff to do in the early game or mid game either, because he can do stuff like this to refill his hand.
I would argue that that point is more reason why he doesn't need to necessarily play Dr. Boom. He doesn't run out of stuff to do, he doesn't need to worry about fatigue, and he has plenty of time.
Okay.
That 3 damage he's about to deal right there doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Just a point I'm making.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm right.
I see where you're coming from. I definitely still disagree with you.
It's weird.
But I see your point.
But I'm a weird person, and I think anybody who's listened to me for any amount of time, including if this is the only conversation you've ever had with me, you know that's true.
That I will definitely agree with. You got me on that one.
And so since Swidz couldn't get off to that beautiful lead that you normally have, you end up in this situation where he has to play a more defensive role. He has to find a setup for bomb activations to become good.
See how do you float 7 mana there? Not 7 mana?
Kaboom.
I would have played it there too, if I hadn't played it already.
Defend the gates.
Yeah, I think that would have been a more prime opportunity to play it, honestly.
Well, what else was he doing? Because you said you didn't like his playing of Ziliax there as well, because it's a prime piece of removal. There was nothing else in his hand.
It's okay to just take 2 damage. It's a 1/3.
But why would you do that when you're not doing anything else? Like,
you save the Ziliax for later. You're going to take
oh,
damage.
the Ziliax. Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, I mean, you don't have to play the Ziliax, but the Dr. Boom. Then otherwise you're just floating 6 mana.
Well, I would play the Dr. Boom one when I floated 7 mana.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think the coining of it, a little early for my taste.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like my point got lost there.
It probably did.
It tends to do that.
Listen to who you're talking to right now. Listen to everything I just said that I sternly believe.
Lordy.
I'm even aware that it sounds crazy. I kind of like it.
Really? The antagonistic part of it is part of the charm for you. That's admirable. Is that true?
Much like you and playing J-Druid on ladder back then.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, I still remember those first few weeks. The Frozen Throne. 2 mana Innovate. 5 mana Plague.
Remember that time I said you shouldn't play Dr. Boom as early as possible?
The good old days.
Nice tempo play here for Swidz. Finally, the threat of some damage.
Yeah. But as we have seen time after time after time, it ain't gonna stick. This is what Dr. Boom does best. He just kills pretty much everything, every single time. Apart from that Eternium Rover.
Well, almost an interesting spot. If he had the ability, for Swidz that is, to have just that 1 extra mana for this. Oh, he has Shield Slam in hand. Okay, never mind. This is a very interesting spot. This is a critical moment here for Swidz.
Wow, that seemingly insignificant Eternium Rover on board is actually pretty good here.
It forces out an Omega Devastator.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I guess it just gets cleared off fairly easily.
Well, I mean, Omega Devastator, I think, is
It's
an
an important card.
extremely important card.
I agree.
A lot of times you have to use Omega Devastator right away, and that's fine. It's a very good play. But this is, in my opinion, one of the prime endgame effects to be using, is if you can use all your other resources first, you end up on this spot.
RDU agrees with you as well, to such a degree that he is bouncing back his Omega Devastator over bouncing the Archivist Elysiana. Is this the play?
I'm curious about it. I want to say no, but then again, you know, both players have drawn fairly aggressively.
I think I like this.
And Swidz does not have an Archivist Elysiana in the main deck. So I think in game number 1, RDU is absolutely free to use Brewmaster simply for value.
Yes, given that there is no ability to shuffle cards, or, well, into his own deck for Swidz. He can obviously shuffle bombs into his opponent's deck.
The reason
10 extra cards always wins fatigue by a million miles.
And the reason that RDU is free to make this play is because it's an open deck list format. They can see what the other person
Excellent point.
Is possible of doing, not necessarily what they are doing in games 2 and 3. You have to get some more information to figure that out.
Yes,
You usually can piece it together, but he knows in game 1 that Swidz doesn't have Elysiana. Otherwise, he would not be making that play ever.
Well, game 2 and potentially game 3 is where things are going to go a little bit crazy, because RDU has a secondary deck with Deathwing and a tertiary deck with Mechathune in there. His control warrior builds are fairly nutty, it's fair to say.
Yeah, it gets a little crazy. I like it though.
Wow, RDU is playing at lightning fast speed.
And this is also just RDU in a nutshell. You know, we talked a bit about Pheno and oftentimes being quick pace to play. RDU streams a ton of Hearthstone, and he's been playing Hearthstone since the beginning of competitive play. Being in this spot here, it's really not a surprise to see him do this because he very much relies on that practice to guide him through.
Yes. I feel like I would, however, say RDU, while he is one of the most accomplished players of all time, one of the players I respect the most, he is one of the more fallible players, I will say. He is more prone to make mistakes than some of the other players. I feel like RDU has to work very hard to be at the top level of Hearthstone, which he does. He works incredibly hard. I have a huge amount of respect for him as a player. However, I think it's not quite so deep of an inherent understanding of the game as we see from players in the league like Kalenta or Purple, for example. And so slowing down, I think, is what he needs to be doing here, just to make sure he's not missing anything.
It's just funny.
The big,
just a bulldozer.
Big digger he is.
The true sleeper of the set. The one thing I will say that I saw RDU doing yesterday that I think cost the most was using Omega Devastators in spots where he didn't need to be using them.
And
and here,
learn his lesson.
And here he has clearly had that practice pay off to some degree, where he has saved it and saved it and saved it.
Ooh.
Interested in that play. I think a hero would probably just.
I think I'd just Warpath.
I think so as well.
I think the weapons project is too important to kill off the Wrench Caliber.
We've only seen one. We haven't seen any Wrench Calibers from
I
the
believe
Swidz
so.
side.
This would be a good time.
Or did we
for
see it
a
on turn
master
4?
plan.
I can't remember back then. We were talking about some nonsense about whether or not you play Dr. Boom as...
Oh, this is interesting.
Keeping full 10 cards in hand, as Swidz is still doing nothing, turn after turn after turn.
Burning a card here for RDU is actually reasonable. The cards that are left don't really have effect on the game. He's already got Dr. Boom in play, he's already got Archivist in hand, he's already used Brewmaster. There's not really anything left to draw that matters. And so he's going to keep his hand full to fight against bombs.
It's part of it. Swidz is also keeping his hand completely full, however. Or just, rather I should say, he's not doing anything this whole game. He's just hero power pass, turn after turn after turn. Is he just saving everything for when he finds Dr. Boom?
Well, so I think it's an interesting perspective from Swidz's side, where the fact that he doesn't have Dr. Boom, it really does, I think, lay into the game plan he has, where he can generate and keep tempo for a long enough time. I feel like his game plan right now, because RDU has used the Brewmaster, is to wait until Elysiana gets drawn and then figure out a way to get bombs into the deck. Which means he will need loads of removal and loads of extra life because he will be into fatigue and going quite deep into it, where RDU will not.
I'll agree with you there. I think that's definitely the reason why. Holding back as much as possible. I was wondering if he was saving back the Elic and the Wrench Caliber to go Elic, Wrench Caliber, and Clockwork Goblin all on the same turn. But I think he's happy taking the likely 5 damage off of this one bomb, and like you said, saving the rest for post-Elysiana. And RDU now, as you pointed out, not too much he really wants left from his deck. So he's just going to overdraw again.
Yeah, I think
on
this
purpose.
is smart. I think this is wise. Yeah, because RDU is also not expending resources, which means Swidz doesn't have clean kills, which means that RDU doesn't have to refill resources, which means that at any point RDU wants, he can use Omega Assembly, fill his hand back up, and try to protect himself from bombs once the board is secured at all.
Such an interesting playstyle from Swidz, because we've seen consistently throughout the day that just playing your cards as Bomb Warrior is very powerful. You curve into Blastmaster Boom, and you just go super wide on the board.
Yeah,
But because he's realizing exactly Elysiana can mess that up, he's taking an incredibly conservative game plan.
This is weird to look at, but
This is very weird to look at.
I think this is the right call. Again, RDU trying to protect himself from an all-in bomb situation, Swidz trying to create a bomb situation, and he's realizing at that shake of the head, that's not going to be possible because RDU understands that.
Yeah. And now, what, Dr. Boom bottom 2 cards? You don't like to see
That's
that.
also a shake of the head.
Yeah.
Maybe... No.
Now that being said, Swidz has seen a second weapons project get burned away.
Okay.
So I'm curious if there's something he can do with like setting up a wrench caliber
Yeah, just equip it to spend the mana.
and
That's
then
interesting.
having something happen the following turn.
Has Harrison been played as well for RDU? Because that definitely changes it, right? I mean, there's only one card left in his deck that isn't a bomb at this point, right?
Suppose we'll find out. RDU's got 10 cards in hand, so he can't draw Harrison this turn, so he'd have to have it in hand.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Okay.
Swid's going to draw the last two.
Hey, there he is. Oh, Boom was literally the last card in his deck, with only the bomb being shuffled in as well.
Light the fuses!
And for RDU there as well, the fact that the bomb was overdrawn there is quite important, because it means there's one card left in his deck to disrupt the chain, potentially.
Yeah, so he wants Swidz to all in the spot, and then to have the chain disrupted by the single card, and then to use the Omega Assembly, is that correct?
Okay. Oh, unless the last card is a bomb as well. I guess the last card could just be an extra bomb that was shuffled in by Swidz. But I don't think it was, because he's been so conservative with his bombs throughout the whole game. But either way, a lot of damage going to be coming through here for Swidz.
I feel like this may be a foregone conclusion, though.
I'm almost out of cards! That's it! I'm out of cards!
It was Harrison. And it was the bottom card. That's pretty sad for RDU, given they had to take all the bomb damage here before he can play Elysiana.
Yeah, well, RDU does know that the last cards in Swid's hand are pretty much exactly what they are.
Yeah, I think he'll have been keeping track.
And so he is free to just solve this puzzle, I think. There's going to be the kicker of, you know, what Dr. Boom Mad Genius can do. But that's pretty much it.
And this was a strange... This felt like an inconsistent game plan, I guess is what I should say, from Swidz, because for turns and turns, he was just hero power passing, not playing any of his bomb cards, presumably to play around Elysiana. Obviously, you don't want your opponent to replace the bombs in their deck with a new deck of cards. But then he just went all in here, which means now that what, Blastmaster Boom isn't active.
Well, I think the game
Elysiana
plan...
can still be played.
I think the game plan was still always get Dr. Boom and have time to use it. Just failed to draw it. You know, I feel like that winning a push without Dr. Boom is not really possible. I think winning a control game without it is possible, but I don't think winning a control game without Elysiana when your opponent has one is possible. And so I think everything just lined up for Swidz in a way where he got put into this position, and what could he do?
And this really is the difference in the decks becoming apparent now. with Swidz having nothing to shuffle into his deck. And for RDU here, it really just does not matter what he's shuffling in. It's just to prevent that fatigue.
Spirit of the Rhino works with Dr. Boom in mechs, correct?
I think so. Can't say I've ever actually tried that interaction, but my brain's saying yes for whatever random reason. Well, I think that was just a bunch of boys, just things you can throw in play.
Yep.
Nothing particularly special.
It's typical Elysiana
Yeah.
stuff.
And yeah, the classic Dr. Boom is as good as you're going to get here.
Wow. What is that answer?
Stuff.
And there you go. The final hurrah from Swidz, it really feels like at this point, as we can clearly see RD is just going to be running away with this one. Short of a miracle off of the delivery drone. Mechathune? Is that ever a thing?
Oh.
Like if he goes Mechathune,
No,
double Omega Devastator, and then Ziliax Brawl.
I mean, that's the one way that you could get this, is with Mechathune, but it has to be literally right here, I think.
No.
And that's not it.
Wrong 10 drop. Yeah. And it does just beg the question of what went so wrong for Swidz in this game. It felt like either way, whether he went for the bombs before or after Elysiana, it was difficult for it to have been working out, or unlikely.
I think it's easy to look at this game and go, RDU had Dr. Boom and Swidz did not.
Yep.
But what I really think it was is that Swidz just didn't have Dr. Boom. He is much more reliant on it, I think, than RDU is.
Really?
Yeah, how does he win this control game without an Elysiana?
Well, he doesn't go for the control game. He goes for the...
I'm saying, how does he run RDU out of stuff? The whole deck for RDU is just blow stuff up. It's the entire deck.
Yeah, well, you just try and go for a big turn at the end with, or at some point in the game with the Alex and just shuffling in a whole bunch of bombs and hope that that kills them. Or just go for a really early Blastmaster Boon that they can't deal with. I don't know, I feel like either way it's going to become a lot easier when he does get his own copy of Elysiana put in there. In addition to Ken Bloodhoof, Grommash Hellscream, the Boom Reaver, and another Elec.
I'm just looking at the tertiary plan for RDU, which includes Mechathune.
It's a weird list.
I don't know. Swidz beats it.
Does he... Yeah, as this one's wrapping up, we're really just wondering how RDU will proceed, because both of his secondary and tertiary decks tech out Elysiana, which could be pretty detrimental if he's... Well, I mean, it basically means if he doesn't get the Mechathune game plan, he loses. He needs to win with Mechathune if he switches there.
Swidz is done! And after a long-winded battle, RDU shows that Elysiana is in fact important.